On the night of September 13th, 1997, downtown Los Angeles was very quiet and empty. A cash transport truck was passing through the street. These trucks collect money from businesses and banks and deliver it to their main facility, which houses a large vault. At this facility, there was an employee named Alan Pace, who was responsible for all the security technology of the warehouse. Alan Pace was an ordinary employee who did his job well and was friendly with everyone. But other employees at the facility had no idea that a criminal mastermind was working right next to them. From the moment Alan was hired, he was thinking about robbing the vault. So, with patience and determination, he worked at the facility and carefully planned everything. After a few years, Alan realized he would need help to carry out his plan. So, he reached out to 5 of his childhood friends from his neighborhood, explained the plan to them, and asked for their help. Alan had gathered detailed information about all the employees. He knew exactly when each of them came, what they did, and when they left. One of the advantages of his job was that, as the person in charge of security devices, he could take photos of everything without raising suspicion. Using these photos, he fully briefed his friends. Alan had also mapped out the positions of all the cameras. He knew where the cameras could see and where they had blind spots. The facility was equipped with the most advanced 360-degree rotating cameras of 1997, but Alan had studied them all. Every night, he held meetings with his friends, and these meetings continued for 5 months. He explained every detail of the facility, including the layout where the guards were stationed and where the cameras were located. He even provided them with a complete map of the building. Alan was very patient and often reminded his friends, "If we rush, we'll get caught." Everything was going according to plan until September 12th. On that day, Alan was unexpectedly fired. The reason for his dismissal was that, as a joke, he had removed the headlight of his friend's car and kept it. But his friend didn't take it well and reported him to the company, claiming that Alan had stolen his car's headlight. The company didn't hesitate and fired Alan on the spot. This sudden turn of events upset Alan. He felt his entire plan was about to fall apart. He immediately gathered his friends and told them, "I've been fired. If we want to do this, we have to do it tomorrow. Otherwise, our inside knowledge will become outdated and we might lose our chance." Fortunately for Alan, the timing was still perfect. September 12th was a Thursday, and the next day, September 13th, was a Friday. On Fridays, the vault holds more money because it's the end of the week and more cash is brought in from various sources. That night, Alan and his friends went to a club to pass the time. When the moment arrived at 11 p.m., they left the club, got into their vehicle, changed into their robbery gear, put on masks, armed themselves, and headed for the facility. They had rented a large van to transport the money. As they approached the facility, some of his friends noticed a camera nearby and hesitated, but Alan assured them, "Don't worry. The person monitoring that camera is a careless guy. Everything had been prepared in advance." Alan even had the key to the back door. They easily entered the building. Even though he was confident, Alan still took the route where the cameras had blind spots, and his friends followed him closely, step by step. It was 12:30 a.m., and Alan knew that, at this hour, the guards would be taking a break and heading to the cafeteria for coffee. Alan and his friends waited in the cafeteria. As soon as the guards entered, they ambushed them one by one, disarmed them, and tied up their hands, feet, and mouths with tape. Alan knew that the keys to the vault room were with the guards. So, they took the keys from them and entered the vault room. This vault was no ordinary safe. Its door was 18 inches thick, made of solid steel, and its body was completely impenetrable. No one could open the vault without both a key and a combination code. But Alan was a genius. He knew that at this time on a Friday night, the vault door would be open because money was constantly being moved in and out. Inside the vault, there were shelves that were locked, but the locks were simple and could easily be cut open. The job was easy for Alan and his friends because they knew which shelves contained the most valuable cash. They specifically targeted the shelves containing $20 bills and higher, avoiding shelves with $1, $5, and $10 bills. Most of the money in the vault was in the form of $20 bills, but they also took some $50 and $100 bills. They filled up their rented van with cash, a total of $18,900,000, equivalent to about $30 million today. But Alan didn't stop there. He also wanted to erase all security footage. He entered the control room, held the inattentive employee hostage, erased all the video footage, and took the security hard drives with him. He even knew where the backup storage was inside a cabinet in another room. He took that backup as well. Alan and his friends successfully pulled off the biggest cash heist in history, breaking all previous records. No one had ever stolen this much cash before. They quickly drove to a friend's apartment, unloaded all the cash, changed back into normal clothes, and returned to the same club they'd been at earlier. If anyone asked where they had been, they would say, "We were at the club." Early the next morning, they returned home. But instead of spending large sums of money immediately, Alan warned his friends, "If you start making big purchases, you'll get caught." Instead, he gave each of them $100,000 in cash and told them to spend it slowly and carefully. Their next step was to rent a warehouse to store the rest of the cash. The heist was a media sensation. Because of the large sum involved, the FBI took over the case. But despite an extensive investigation, they found nothing. No fingerprints, no clues, and no useful information from the hostages. Alan had done his job perfectly. They had worn masks, altered their voices, and never called each other by name. Plus, Alan had taken all the security footage with him. The only piece of evidence the FBI found was a piece of a rear truck light that had broken off at the scene. However, this wasn't very helpful because there were so many similar trucks in Los Angeles. FBI agents decided to monitor Alan, but he lived in his mother's house and didn't have a bank account, so they found nothing suspicious. 6 months passed, and everything seemed calm, but his friends started spending money carelessly. Some of them bought land, luxury cars, and expensive items. Alan even started a business to launder his share of the money. Everything was going smoothly until one of his friends, Eugene, made a critical mistake. He went to buy a piece of land and paid in cash. But he forgot to remove the bank's cash strap from the money, which still had the bank's identification on it. The seller became suspicious and contacted the bank to verify the cash. The bank identified it as money that had been in the vault and notified the police. The police arrested Eugene. They traced his activity and discovered he had rented a truck on the day of the heist. They also found out that he was connected to Alan. The FBI raided Alan's house and found millions of dollars in cash. They interrogated Eugene, and he confessed, revealing the names of everyone involved. The police arrested all 5 members of the crew. Alan, as the mastermind and an insider employee, was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The other members of the crew received 10-year sentences. However, there was still a mystery. Out of the $18.9 million stolen, only $7 million was recovered. The remaining $10 million is still missing. When asked where the rest of the money went, they claimed, "We spent it and we don't know where it is." Alan is still in prison since he was sentenced to 25 years in 2001. He has about 1 year left before his release. His friends have already been released, but they are under close surveillance as the FBI is still searching for the missing $10 million.